back once again to another edition of Kreager's Corner. Here we are, week 8, game 8, and the 4th edition of Kreager's Corner, and I'm with the man himself, Tom Kreager. Coach, what's going on?
We're back, week 8, game 8. We're all in line now.
Yeah, then that's the best part.
Yeah.
Is I don't have to really focus before I do the introduction.
Well, we're 3 games until the playoffs, and we've got big news come out with TSA. We got some big games. We got some teams trying to make the playoffs. It's going to be an interesting last 3 weeks of the season.
You sent me the topics, and let's jump right into it. Okay, open enrollment has come out, or what they will do to set who's going where. And I give the floor to you. I spoke with Coach McDaniel earlier today, and not a happy camper with the way things are kind of ramping out, but I'll let you have the floor.
I spoke with Coach McDaniel too, and I can sense some of the words he may have used in that conversation, at least off camera.
Not on field.
Off camera for sure. He's not a very happy camper. New enrollments did come out. Of course, we've got a new playoff system in the state starting in 2015. That will include what's called a Super 6, a 32-team 6A league that will all 32 teams will make the playoffs. Then after that, it goes 1A through 5A. Top 4 teams will make the playoffs on that. So it's kind of the old 5A format from that. 6 of our 7 teams are currently in that top 32. Laverne right now is on the bubble. They're 32, and Riverdale is number 31. Stewart's Creek was the only one of the big boys that are in 5A right now. Eagleville's 2A.
Will they stay there?
I think I don't think a decision has not been made. The verbiage I'm getting from school officials is that they believe they will stay in 5A. And let's be honest, they're a second-year program.
Grow gradual.
They need to grow gradual. They've been through Murderers Row the last 2 years playing in 7 AAA with a lot of underclassmen. So I think them being in 5A, the question is, where do they go? I think there's a chance they could be in a region if they stay in 5A, which would include like a Columbia, Franklin County, Shelbyville, Lincoln County, kind of an old 3-5A. They would be kind of brought in with them. There is some talk that maybe they shift them toward like a Williamson League, because you've got Brentwood, you've got Independence, you've got Centennial in that league, and there's some Metro teams there. I think though they're going to want to push them out toward them because it's kind of an old It's kind of like the current basketball region. I think from a geographic standpoint, I think TSA would like that. Of say, hey, all right, we're going to put them in a natural region for them with what they do from other sports. So I think that's where they may be leaning. That's just me talking. It's just me kind of looking at some.
What did this really do, Tom? I mean, let's get down to it. You did the old system where it took a lot of wins to get into the playoffs. Now we're doing it to where we're doing it the new way. What is the TSSW? I mean, what are we thinking, and what is the mission behind the mission? I mean, what are we trying to do?
Well, we know, and we've done the podcast at the end of the year last year,
And go to do it again.
And we're going to do it this year. You've already reserved a room in Hoover, Alabama, where we will be.
At the Embassy Suites if we don't get thrown out.
That might happen. But anyway, you know how long it took me to figure out the 6A brackets last year.
Right.
It took some time to figure it out. Like 1:30 in the morning, we both had our cell phones blowing up from someone that may or may not sponsor someone's Twitter account. But that's another story. But anyway, if people want to know where are we going, all this stuff. What they're doing, hey, this will simplify that deal. This will keep it from what they've done by taking the top 32 schools by enrollment size, and they're going to put them in their own league. By doing that, after they go 1A to 5A, 5A, the range of enrollments is going to shrink down where it's more manageable. Where instead of, and I haven't looked at it, I'm just going to pull this out. I haven't looked at those numbers, but say 5A might be from 1,200 to 1,600.
Okay.
Whereas if you had just 5 classes, maybe that enrollment was from 1,400 to 2,200. You're shrinking down the enrollment sizes of the schools. So that way, all right, the closer they can get to the same size, they think the better competition. I personally don't think that's how you do it, but there's different theories out there. But that's kind of why they're doing it this way. Now, the big question that's on everyone's mind is, what will George Quarles do in Maryville? He originally said that he will go up. Maryville will go up to 6A. He is the athletic director there, so that's more or less his. He's the football coach and athletic director, and I believe if he wanted to go to 6A, he has that authority to do so.
And he can play big boy ball.
He's shown he can play big boy ball. He's got a couple gold balls in playing big boy ball. And he's a great coach, and nothing to take away from him.
And we want to see him in that league.
Oh, I'd love to, but here's the issue. When the new enrollments came out, he looked at it as he's looking at his league, and he's got, okay, I've got Bearden, which is good. It's in my area. I've got Hardin Valley. I've got William Blount. I've got Jeff County, that's maybe an hour away. But then all of a sudden, I've got to go to Bradley Central. I've got to go to Science Hill. I've got to go to Dobbins Bennett. And all of a sudden, I think he saw dollar signs. As in, he's losing money as far as travel. Said, hey, this is a big thing with travel. I mean, Maryville to Dobbins Bennett is still not a short drive. It was a lot longer for Siegel to go to Science Hill, but Maryville to Science Hill.
Because they have to go through Knoxville to start their track to get to Science Hill or to anything up in the tri-state area.
Exactly. It's still not a short little drive. You got
to go through Knoxville?
Yeah, so the thought process is he can go to 5, he can stay in 5A where he is zoned, where he's been put, and
and still dig enough out of Knoxville or the area.
You're going to be in with Farragut, Sevier County, I guess probably, I'm guessing maybe an Oak Ridge might be in there. I'd have to look. But there are going to be enough schools in that league where the travel won't be as much.
Right.
So I think travel is his number one concern. I will say this, he is not going to dodge Murfreesboro. He's not going to dodge White.
If it was closer,
he's played them and beat them.
All right.
He's played them and beat them.
So, enough of that. Let's move on to this week's games. We've got a couple of huge games coming up. Middle Tennessee Christian hosting Eagleville.
Really intriguing 2A game there.
Saw Steve Carson this past Friday night. Seemed to, didn't feel like he's as loaded as he'd like to be as far as talent-wise, and he's looking for some kids to come to Eagleville, I'll tell you that. But anyway,
Well, he's also lost like 9 starters to injury. I mean, that's been the big bugaboo, I guess, with him is he's had a lot of significant injuries. Here's going to be, I think, the line to watch. The issue to watch for Eagleville Middle Tennessee Christian is, can Eagleville run the ball?
Okay.
More importantly, can Middle Tennessee Christian School stop Eagleville's run game? They do a lot of zone blocking. That's kind of how they do things. They're bigger up front than Middle Tennessee Christian. They're going to play more. I think they're going to be more physical in the trenches. And I look for Cameron Lawson, their running back at Eagleville, to have a pretty good game.
So they're going to run the ball and keep the ball out of MTC.
They're going to run the ball, and then they're going to run the ball, and they're going to run it one more time. There have been times when their quarterback's thrown, A.J. Garza has thrown maybe 3 to 5 passes a game. And A.J. will run the ball as well. But I think that's going to be the big thing. Can Eagleville stop the run? There have been times when they've had issues this season stopping the run. On the flip side, I think Eagleville's defense has played pretty good this season.
So can they play pass coverage again?
The big question is, I haven't seen Eagleville. I don't know how much pass coverage they're going to handle their skill. I think that's going to be the big thing. I think Justin Wynn, the quarterback at the Christian School, is going to have a pretty good night throwing the football. And we all know how much rain we've had this week. I mean, how slippery is the field going to be? It may be a night for the run game. That's maybe my biggest concern there. I kind of think Eagleville's going. I put it in my picks. I'm picking Eagleville to win this one in an upset.
Well, there you go. The Bulldog getting on the road, and we'll ease down to the Inferno, and Matt Williams will go over to Phillips' house and talk a little bit about that game. That's Blackman Smyrna.
I talked to Matt Williams on Monday, and I think one of those guys we talked a week ago, and who benefited the most from being on fall break. I think in talking to him, I think he would agree that he did not benefit well from fall break, and the reason why is they're coming off that loss to Siegel. I think the worst thing is they had a couple days off, and they need to get in there and get right back to practice.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be an interesting game. I think Blackman, I haven't talked to Philip on that matter on how health wise, but I think there's a good chance he'll have his his 2 guards back. For them, if they have those 2 guards back and they have their line intact, I think that means a big night for Mr. Davidson and Mr. Jennings.
In other words, it's gonna be tough for the Dogs to pull it out.
I think this could, if Smyrna isn't careful, I think this game could be over at halftime.
Is that where you're going to be?
I will be there
at the Inferno.
I believe you'll be there too. I think.
No. I'll tell you where I'll be here shortly.
Oh, okay. Oh, change of plans here, folks.
Thoughts on the rest of the county? Siegel and Sturts Creek.
Siegel, Sturts Creek. Both teams need a win. They're both 2 wins. If they want to have any shot of making the playoffs, that team has to win. Whoever wins Friday night between Siegel and Sturts Creek, they're still in the playoff hunt.
Let's leave it there. It's simple as that. You're going to have
exactly.
You got
to win.
Laverne, Oakland.
I think Oakland. Thought their run game was pretty well reestablished. They have got to get in sync with a quarterback. I know it's a broken record. People in Oakland probably hate me talking about their quarterback situation. Ja'Cory Smith, I think he can run the ball. He showed a burst of speed that I don't think the other 2 quarterbacks have. But he's got to throw the football.
Coach admitted in his interview that he felt like that he was a little uncomfortable in the situation on last Friday night against Baylor. And
coach was uncomfortable, or the quarterback was uncomfortable?
He felt like the coach felt like the quarterback was uncomfortable, and he said that he's looking for him to work through that.
Okay.
So Riverdale and Cane Ridge.
It's a reunion for Cortland and Kane Owens. Cortland Owens last year led Cane Ridge to the playoffs. Won like the last 5 or 6 games as a quarterback there to get them in the playoffs, and he's now at Riverdale, and I think he's going to have a big night against his former team. I don't think Riverdale's going to bat an eye. I think I think they will finish after Friday night. They will be 4-0 against non-district teams a year after going 0-4 against those same district teams. That's a big turnaround for the.
I felt like Coach A-Lot was short with me. I felt like he's got a bad taste in his mouth, as he'd like to say. All right, we get down to it. 3-game push. Everybody's kind of got You talk to these coaches, and Kreager, here's the deal. They'll tell you, one game at a time. Yet the minute, that's on video. Yet they're not only looking for video, they're jockeying for games for next year. They're trying to establish relationships. Coaches are working, I think, double time right now, just trying to get ready. Almost like it's 21 days before we're going to be in, or less. It'll be less, or 21 day, 2 weeks Friday night. 2 weeks Friday night, so 14 days from Friday night, right?
Yep.
So we're going to be in Hoover. We'll shoot that show and then release it late night, and everybody will be waiting for it. And
we'll have our phone on silence because we won't be taking
airplane mode. Will be huge that night.
Yep.
But talk about it. Look. Riverdale's in, Oakland's in, Blackman's in.
Smyrna needs one more win. They got enough. They got Creek. They got Creek another week. Creek can. I think I think Smyrna's looking at unless they pull an upset over someone. I think they're looking at another 6-4 season.
Is that where you thought they'd be?
I thought they'd be 6-4, 7-3, somewhere in there. I thought they were right about then.
Okay.
6-4, 7-3, because you had a quarterback that had never been a varsity quarterback. You had a running back that was not at that school last year, so he didn't really have any experience there. He replaced some new linemen, had some new defensive players. Only had one player that really had any significant catches on offense, and he brought a new offense in. I thought they were probably 6-4, 7-3. Probably the Siegel loss will be the one that will sting in there. And I don't know when it's all said and done, Stork. I'm not so sure that 7-3 would have given them much of a better.
Deal than 6-4.
As far as placement in the playoffs, right. I think they're probably gonna be a 4 or 5. It may cost them a home game, but I think when it's all said and done, there's a good chance they're gonna either be a 4 seed or a 5 seed.
All right, and then what does Oakland need to do these last 3 games? Of course,
stay healthy.
Phillips going to have a tough
quarterback.
One. Yeah, Phillips going to have a tough one, and we're going to find out. It's not really a what can we say? It does mean something. Means something for a Tennessee school to go down to Alabama and play in Birmingham.
I can't remember when Hoover's played a team from Tennessee. To be honest with you,
No.
I mean,
No,
I'll be honest with you, I don't.
I've been here. I've been filming in this county since 2014 years, and I've never seen it.
Yeah. So.
I mean, you played the Mississippi, the Panola, and that's about it. And then went to Louisville, did a little St. X.
Well, I mean, Smyrna played like Olive Branch, Mississippi's who they played, and
not South Panola,
not South
Olive
Panola.
Branch, whatever.
We've had some teams play some Kentucky teams, and Gary played an Ohio team I think one year, and there's been some other Kentucky teams, but never an Alabama team at all, at least around this area. And I can't think of anyone in the state that's played at Hoover. I mean, obviously it's not that week yet, so I won't dig into that just yet. But we talk about this being big boy football. Boys, this is extra large boy football.
Right.
This is real. This is big time football. I think that game's going to be on TV, at least down there. I don't know if it'll be on up here.
That's about the break point. I mean, when you feel like, when you start looking at the premier college football teams, when you start going down the rosters, you're going to see the Hoovers. And the rest of it almost goes to the coast. You're moving into Daphne, Spanish Fort, Foley, and then you move a little bit over into Biloxi. I mean, there's just a lot of talent up and down that I-10 area, and let's just leave it at that. We could go on and on and on about all the great talent that's come out of that area.
One thing to remember, Hoover's not perfect this year. They've got a couple losses. Now, one of them was in 150-degree weather on the field, I think. But they're not perfect this year. This Blackman team, although they've not played perfect, this team is perfect right now. They've got a quarterback that has grown leaps and bounds. I had someone on email a little bit ago that was really dogged him hard about how he was last year, and he said, "Hey, he's grown. He's gotten a lot better." And we've always heard Philip has said this, and I know Ron has told me in the past. Ron Alot has told, to win a state title, you gotta have that quarterback. You gotta have a quarterback, and they've got a quarterback there.
There's a lot of coaches that call me on Thursday afternoon, and they say, "Stork, you go right back down the championships. Every one of them have had a quarterback." And you don't
there's only one exception I can think of. That was Coach McDaniel's one at Oakland in 2008, the last year in 5A, where they literally just ran it down Franklin's throat, and they just kept running the football.
But you didn't have to.
Yeah.
I mean, Coach McDaniel. And all coaches will tell you that if you can run the ball, run the ball. I mean, they just don't veer from it. I mean, look, and I know, there are three things that happen when you put that ball in the air, and two of them ain't very good.
Yep. Well, the good thing with Jennings is the good things have happened, and he's done a lot of good things with his legs.
Two of them ain't good, Tom.
So, I know.
Yeah, I mean, all right, and then closing it out, we've talked about Blackman, and then already the team that's in is, what about Riverdale? What do they need to do?
I think the biggest thing is healthy. I think they've got a legit good chance with their quarterback. They've got a big game in a week. We'll be talking a lot about thing called the Battle of the Borough, I think it's called. It's big game, big boy football there. If they can somehow, if they can win out, they can be a number 2 seed. I mean, that's the thing that you got to remember. If you're, whoever Riverdale or Oakland, barring an upset, the winner of that game will be the 2 seed. And I think Blackman, barring an upset, should be the 1 seed in there. So that's where you want to kind of line up.
Well, thank you for joining me, and you will be at?
I will be at the Smyrna at Blackman. Of course, you can follow updates on Twitter at Kreager. That's Kreager. And where are you going to be?
So I'll give you my rundown. Right now, it's looking like first off, Friday I'll relocate to Little Rock. I've been invited to attend the Razorback and the Bulldog game on Saturday, and be a special guest of a friend of mine, and I'm looking so forward to seeing that game.
Who are you picking in that game?
I've got to pick Razor. I got to go with the Razorbacks.
Really?
Oh yeah. I got to go with the Razorbacks. I've got a lot of.
Sue Piggy.
Yeah, I've got to go with.
Can you give me a Sue Piggy?
No, I'm not giving you a Sue Piggy. And then more than likely, I mean, it's looking this way. I may have to go down to Oyster City, down to New Orleans next week. So I mean, we may not be doing this show next week.
Okay.
So, but
It'd be fun for you there, won't it?
I just can't wait to dip some bread in some butter and some Parmesan from where a grilled oyster is or char grilled has been setting. So that'll do it. We'll wrap it up and follow Kreager at Kreager on Twitter. And
follow him at Stork Montgomery, and there will be a behind the lens.
We are coming back. I've got 2 great topics. Everybody will want to tune in. That is Friday morning, and we will do it behind the lens, and then I'll relocate to Little Rock. We'll see you then.